Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I am so happy to be with you again today as together we can consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, I'm hoping to help you discover why hope is power. We use the word hope all the time. It's a very basic word. We've been using it all our lives. But I thought, why not take a moment and go online and see what Merriam-Webster has to say about hope. Let's define this basically. So here we go. Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary definition of hope. To cherish a desire with anticipation. To want something to happen or be true. The archaic meaning, trust. They go on to say, to desire with expectation of obtainment or fulfillment. To expect with confidence, trust. So I think that's interesting. The word trust comes up a couple times. And when you think about it, when you feel like you have hope, you really do have a sense of trust. It's inner trust. It may not be trust in a particular person, place, or thing, but you've got like this inner sense of trust. So let's move on now. Why would I be talking about hope with anxiety? Why is hope important when we're healing or clearing our anxiety? And I want to tell you, I think it's extremely important. It certainly was for me. I have to say, I had, for some reason, this inner trust, this inner knowing that although I didn't know anybody else who was struggling with what I was struggling with, and I didn't have a lot of information about it, I just had this inner knowing that somehow this was going to be okay, or I was going to change, or whatever. I did trust. I had hope. Now, that didn't make things a lot easier, but I think that it played a huge part in my ability to keep going. So, why is hope important for mental health? Well, there was a research paper that is entitled Hope and Optimism as an Opportunity to Improve the Positive Mental Health Demand. Now, I will have a link to that entire paper so you can read the whole thing for yourself if you would like. I will have a link to that in the show notes for you to read the whole research paper. But this paper found, as a catalyst for positive change, hope promotes overall mental health and may help heal specific conditions, including severe mental illness, suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, and trauma-related disorders. That's huge. This puts hope right up onto the top of the list of things that we need to cultivate for mental health. So, one of the most impactful feelings that you can ever experience, I think, is hope. You feel it. You can't get away from it. It's big. Hope occurs when we center our expectations on something. Your hope is like a wish for something to happen. It is. It's like, oh, like I wish that this would happen, or I hope this would happen. We do use those words interchangeably quite often. And there is power in those wishes when they are felt from that place of hope. So if hope is so important and that we really need to be cultivating it or having more of it in our lives, because maybe you're tired and exhausted enough, you don't have a lot of hope. I can understand that too. So let's talk about some ways that we can increase our power to heal with hope and how we can increase our ways of increasing this hope in our own lives. So let's look at a bunch of different ways. Let me see how many I actually have here. I think I have 8 different ways that I'm going to chat with you about. So hope actually plants a seed. Whenever you yearn for something, having hope implies that this thing could actually occur. So you yearn for something, you want something in the future, you don't have it right now. And when you have hope, it implies that it could actually occur. Hope can germinate into a whole new existence. Your life's journey can be enhanced by simply having hope. We want to be able to have that hope. And I think from my own experience of working with people, I think you have this hope. I think it's intrinsic in us as human beings. But I think we don't allow ourselves to have it. Oh, I shouldn't hope. Or be careful, don't hope. Don't put your hopes too high. We've been told all kinds of things. So perhaps we are just holding back a little bit on this idea of having hope. The second thing I have for you is that in order to feel hopeful, honesty is required. We've all experienced times when we were fooling ourselves about something. We all know this. Let's use some different examples here. So perhaps you were fooling yourself about a relationship or a work situation. But to have hope, we are forced to be honest about what we have done to create the challenge. So I want to ask you, how can you be more honest about your anxious behaviors? This is a great place to pull out your journal and let the journal work for you. Just write. It's no right or wrong. Just rip. Let your thoughts out. How can you be more honest about your anxious behaviors? Because in order to hope for something to be better, you're going to have to be honest about where you are right now. And only by telling ourselves the truth about a trying situation can we proceed ahead and experience the hope. Number 3, hope produces a can-do kind of spirit. For example, if you want your anxiety symptoms and sensations to be cleared out, to reduce, to not be jumping around your body as they can do, you can draw upon the hope within you. That desire to want to be free of those symptoms and sensations and be living a more peaceful and calm life. It's rooted in a hope that you can put the practices that we talk about here to work and let the anxious behaviors burn themselves out. Remember, if we don't feed them, if we don't fan those flames, that the anxious behaviors left on their own will die out as long as we don't keep adding more to it. The next step is to then ask yourself, what can I do to help my nervous system heal? Hope cultivates a personal sense of responsibility and ownership. Only then do you have the power to convince yourself that you can truly affect a change in your own life. Where can you take more ownership or personal responsibility for healing your anxiety? This comes down to us not blaming others, not blaming situations, but actually just coming down to our own selves, because that's where all the power is. Our own ways of being able to change our thinking, our attitudes, how quickly we respond or react to things. Bring it back down to the basics. Number 4, hope often leads you to the answer. When you're clueless about how to resolve a difficult issue, you resort to hoping the issue will be solved somehow. Your thoughts begin to meander, through all the ins and outs of figuring out the challenge. Before you know it, you've hit on something that might help the situation. Going into that space of hoping actually opens us up to other possibilities. Don't be afraid to hope. Number 5, hope cultivates your imagination. Creativity and imagination are necessary when we're hoping for something to grow or change in a positive way. We stretch ourselves by considering resolutions that we hadn't considered before. This is like opening up a whole new world by allowing ourselves to feel that inner hope. Number 6, hope enhances your personal commitment to the issue at hand. When we've thought enough about a vexing challenge, we're likely committed to overcoming that challenge. So this is where we have the personal commitment, and it sets us up to sharpen our focus and find a way to create the end result that we desire. Number 7, hope springs from within you. The purest form of strength and power in your life emerges solely from within you. Only your own thoughts and desires are needed. Hope is free and available to you at any time you wish to tap into it. Don't let your hope be stolen from you. Don't be intimidated by other people who don't want to hope. They will figure it out when they figure it out. If this can help you heal and feel stronger and more capable and have the ability to carry on another day, let the hope flow. Look at how it can help us to figure out challenges in our lives. Why would we want to cut that tap off? Number 8, hope allows you to accept and forgive others and yourself. Many times the path you seek can only be paved by your complete acceptance of yourself and others and your ability to forgive. We'll all be exposed to those people in life who annoy us or they bewilder us. They add to our own bewilderment that we already have. And unfortunately, we'll be hurt by the actions and words of others at some point or another. We have all been hard on ourselves, too. We have done these same things to ourselves, thinking that was the way to create change. The stick, right? Trying to get ourselves to go forward. However, having hope encourages us to move past these positions of powerlessness and discover the true strength of our character. Possessing hope enables us to perform challenging acts and believe the unbelievable. Life contains much more than meets the eye, and being open to the possibilities allows us to broaden our horizons and find answers otherwise unavailable to us. The good life that you deserve can be attained by having hope. Let go of your self-doubt and catch your negativity. Discover your power by embracing all the riches hope can deliver. There is so much more to life than meets the eye. I love thinking about that. We get very caught up in the black and white of life. What is right in front of us, what can be proven, what can be replicated. Of course, that's all wonderful, and we need to do all those things too. But we don't want to cut ourselves off from the unknown, from the mystery of life. There is so much more out there. I have to talk about this because this is very much a part of my life. So many things have happened in my life that I could not have imagined. And they came because I stayed somewhat open. Now, I haven't always been real open. We go through different chapters in our lives, different cycles where we're more or less open, and maybe this is a time for you to crack open a little bit and be able to have some hope in your life. to trust, to expect with confidence, to desire with expectation of obtainment or fulfillment, to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true. This really is healing. This is like medicine, and it's inside you. Just go and let it flow. If you feel a hope bubble up, don't cut it off. We've been very accustomed to ignoring things like that. Don't be so hopeful. Don't get your hopes up. Well, let your hopes flow. Let your hopes flow. Remember, the research paper said that hope promotes overall mental health and may be helpful to heal specific conditions, including severe mental illness, suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, and trauma-related disorders. Let's pay attention to that. Today, I hope that you get this message and that you had a little bit more openness to discovering why hope is power. I appreciate being here with you, and I love hearing from you all. Send me an email, anxietycoachespodcast@gmail.com. And now for today's quote. Hope is important because it can make the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. And that's from Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.